What is going on? Today we have a new segment that's going to be coming out, and we're going to call this Team Chat. With me today, you probably can't see him unless you're on YouTube, and if you're not, you're silly. This is Brett Owens. He's one of the coaches here at True Capacity, and we had a grand idea. I mean, we have so many damn conversations together all the time anyways, about coaching, about his clients, about my clients, about what's going on and what we're seeing across all client accounts and kind of the struggles, the pitfalls, the problems that are coming up that we're solving for every week. And so we thought, maybe we look at just starting to release a segment, since my ass is already putting out so many pieces of content a day on YouTube and on streaming. Like, why don't we just start recording these, right? So that we can use them to give to people, so that people can get some more free game from us. Even if they're not a client, and our clients can also get questions answered without having to blow our phones up to ask them. So it allows us to take our time with our clients also a little bit deeper, because some of the common questions are already answered. So that is how we got here today, right? I know that's 90 seconds longer than you asked for, but today, the first episode, what we're going to be going over is something that Brett has been saying, more specifically with, I would probably say, people that are newer, like first couple months training with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
roughly.
Yeah. Okay. So like maybe first 90 days, first 120 days, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Boom.
roughly.
Okay. Well, let's unpack what the problem is, what we're trying to solve for, and then let's talk about some solutions and maybe some things to keep in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor up, man. Take it away.
Yeah, dude. So the main issue that I've been seeing a lot of is first weekend, they're coming in, they're excited or whatever, and maybe end of the week they slip on their diet. They have like a meal with some friends, or they their birthday comes up and they want to go get something nice, like ramen or pizza or something, and they message me the next day and they're like, oh, I got to be honest with you, man, I fell off the diet, blah blah blah. Or maybe they missed a workout because their schedule got too crazy or something. And every time I get those messages, it's like, all right, so what do we do moving forward? Let's get back on the tracks. If you slipped up, you're human, it's all good. We're going to move forward and figure out how we can stay consistent, because as you know, one meal isn't going to completely ruin progress, just like one good meal isn't going to make you shredded. So that's what I've been seeing a lot of.
Yeah. Two questions that come from that. First and foremost, why is it that you think that? Why do you personally think that in the first week people are already falling off their plan?
Oh man, that's a good one. Yeah, it's not a consistent thing that they're doing every day. Like, they're just jumping into a new lifestyle that they're trying to change everything, right? So when it comes to quick change, a lot of times it's not super sustainable. That's why we kind of practice easing people into it, right? Not going full force, like you're going to be eating nothing but chicken and rice for the rest of your life, and you're going to work out 7 days a week. It's like, we're going to go easy. It's not going to be too tough. We kind of give you some structure, and as we go along, we'll start introducing things that you're used to, that you like, and makes it a little easier, more sustainable once you have a better understanding of like what a good life, like what a healthy lifestyle kind of looks like.
Yeah. Okay. So it's brand new, right? And it's a lot all at once, even though we kind of scale it back for people when they're first starting. And I know that we do that because I can see what your clients are doing. I can see what you and I are talking about, and I know what I'm doing with my clients. It's not craziness 0 to 100 where we're like, hey, get 200 grams of protein every day, get 22,000 steps, and work out 4 times a week. Like, it's not for people that are on the couch. It's not that crazy. Like, calm down. So that makes sense. It's a lot of change though in general for most people. Secondarily, from that initial question that I had, that second one, I can see how people would be in a position where they could get off track, right? It's a lot to keep in mind. It's a lot that's changing from their day to day. That's why they're here. That's why they're getting help, right? That is literally what we're there for. But why do you think that they put so much pressure on themselves and confess their sins to you the minute it happens and they feel shame or guilt?
Well, I mean, first of all, they hired me to help them with these kinds of things, and I make it very clear that with all of my clients that come on, if you're not honest with me, if you don't tell me these things. If I don't know what's going on, I can't help, right? So if you're not honest with me, if you're lying to me, or you're not telling me these things that I need to know, we're not going to work together very well. So I mean, I try to make that very clear from day one. It's like, hey, look, if something happens, if you fall off, let me know and we can take care of it moving forward. If you don't let me know, I'm going to either assume things are okay, or you're going to be getting text messages from me every day until you let me know what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of the reason why people come to me about it.
Yeah. And if you had to rank things like top three things that people are struggling with in the first week, what would they be? 1 to 3.
Oh, it's finding time to exercise.
That's the first one that
Um,
breaks down. Exercise time.
yeah, yeah, it's
Now,
time.
step time, or are we talking about weight training, resistance training, or the steps, or both?
Oh, yeah. So more so just with the workout itself, not so much the steps. Most people hit their steps just at work. A lot of the people that I work with, but yeah, steps not so much. More just the workout, and then the nutrition, of course, is it's 90% of the battle. So that one's tough to stay on top of because everybody's got a lifestyle that they're used to, and it's hard to maneuver into something completely different or completely new. Um, and yeah, I don't know about a third thing. I mean, those are really the two main things. Do you have something that you see pretty frequently?
I mean, I would say I'm surprised that your people get the steps that you need them to get, because that would be the third for me. I mean, it's usually like, oh shit, I've never worked out this much. Like 3 times a week seems like so much. And weight training, this is all new to me. So I get it. There's like a lot of extra stress. Like, I don't want to get injured. Am I doing that right? Are people watching me? I'm afraid, right? What if I drop the weight? Like, you're in a gym, the floor is rubber. Drop the weight. It's not the end of the world, right? So I see kind of the same things, but I would add steps in there myself, because that is something that I see people not hitting with being so sedentary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say that like I do work with a lot of people who are sedentary, who work office jobs and stuff. But I mean, I also have the majority of honestly, a lot of my clients are on their feet a lot, business owners or even waitresses or nurses or people like that. They're walking pretty regularly. So I don't see it a ton, but I do see it I mean, I would say I at least see it most of the time, some of the time.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. So on the nutrition side, though, I'd like to kind of unpack this a little bit. Where do you see people falling off? Is it protein? Is it overall macros? Is it overall calorie content? Is it alcohol, junk food? Like, where are people falling off in that first week that, if they don't correct, could be detrimental for them actually hitting goals?
Yeah, probably eating out a lot, not meal prepping, not properly prepared.
Define eating out, right? Because like, eating out to me doesn't mean eating at someone else's house. It also doesn't mean going to a steakhouse where you can get broccoli and just steak, right? Or broccoli steak and like some red potatoes. Like, define eating out in your words.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, eating out, like grabbing some fast food, or even going maybe not a steakhouse, but going to a restaurant or something where that's fine. Like I don't care if my clients eat out. We have guides and resources to help them in situations like that. Um, but a lot of times, like, they'll go out and they'll think something is super healthy, and then that fits within their diet plan, and they don't realize just how many calories are in the food that they're eating. Like, when you go out to eat, there's so many unaccounted for calories because people at the restaurants, rightfully so, don't really care about your diet. They want the food to taste good. So we gotta make sure that we're aware of those things.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. They want the food to taste good and they want it to come out fast, because nobody's trying to sit down for dinner and the food take an hour to come out, right? So we're talking about like fast oils, right? We're talking about high sugar, high fat, right? Carbs and everything, butter on everything, maybe some added sugar and salt on everything, right? Because I mean, you're out, right? You want people to come back. You want people to enjoy it. You're not going to feed people just plain tofu, right?
Right.
Or or plain baked chicken, right? You're not going to do that, right? You got to ask for that stuff specifically because it's not on the regular menu. So
Right.
we've run over kind of first week, right? Hey, it's exercises in the gym, right? Your overall workout in the gym. It's the nutrition, the eating out specifically. And then 3, not really a 3 for you. Those are kind of the 2 main. I would throw steps in there. just people not planning for it. Let's push out though, outside of just the first week. So first week, those are kind of the struggles. What are you seeing at like maybe week 4, right? First month in, first 4 weeks in, are the struggles the same? Are they usually changing? What can people expect with that kind of gravity of lifestyle change?
Yeah, I mean, it starts to clear up a lot. I mean, like they're as long as they're, continuing to be honest with me, they're listening to my check-ins and they're, very transparent with me about everything. That's usually where I start to see things to start curving up. Like, I have a client that he literally, and I'm cool with it. I love it. He texts me just about every day what he's eaten. And even like today, he messaged me. Pack of donuts was at the at work. He was like, "Temptations everywhere. I'm not touching it." So it's like he's doing good about being mindful of like what a healthy lifestyle kind of looks like. And he's starting to get into that position where it's like, okay, we're understanding now. Let's start to maneuver some of the things that he does like back into his diet. And now that he's kind of more fortified in his brain, like we can control it and be mindful of some of the stuff that we're doing in the program. So yeah, I'd say about week 4 is usually when things are starting to get an uptick, and they're being a lot more adherent to everything by that point.
Yeah. For someone that's, whether they're being coached by us or not, right, between that week 1 and week 4 space, what advice would you have for them when they do run into a roadblock like that, or multiple, where it just seems like they can't get past it to continue this lifestyle change?
Yeah. You're saying like they can't get past the temptations and stuff?
Yeah, they cave to fast food, they cave to alcohol, they cave to, I'll just get my work in tomorrow. I'll just get some steps later. Like, what advice would you have for people like that are struggling?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about that today a little bit on my Facebook, but having some sort of accountability partner, or even just any form of accountability, is huge there. There was a research that showed that just having an accountability partner, you are 95% likely to succeed in whatever it is that you're trying to do, which means you only got a 5% chance that you're going to fail. So I think when it comes to being adherent to any kind of diet, or any kind of exercise program, or fighting temptation, having someone on your team, a spouse, a friend, a coach, whatever, is what's going to probably be the most effective way to, continue to do it.
But why is that? So like, I get the empirical backing, the empirical backing from the
Sure.
study. I get that there, but from an overall just action standpoint, why do you feel like having that accountability and showing up anyways actually will push someone through?
I think it reminds you that you're not just doing like it's not just you now. It's you, and you don't want to let this other person down either.
Mm.
So it's like for me at least, like in my situation, if I'm struggling with something, and say it's a diet and there are donuts on the table, I'll look at that, and the first thing that I'm going to think about, Brett thinks about, is whoever my accountability partner is. I mean, even in business, we work together. If I literally could just sit down all day and play video games if I wanted to. But the moment I sit down to do that, I start thinking, okay, what would James think about this? Or what would, my other business coaches, what would they think about me doing this? Is this pushing me forward? Is this making me better? It's not. So I'm going to spend my time wisely, and I'll have time for the things that I want to do later in the day when I'm done with the work that I need to do. So I don't know. Does that answer your questions? That kind of.
Yeah. I mean, accountability, it's almost like you need to show up and we need messy action, right? Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be crazy, doesn't need to be spectacular effort that will get you on stage in a bodybuilding competition. It just needs to be 1 is greater than 0. I'm going to show up in the face of everything. I'm going to give myself some grace if something does happen, right? Or I do not live up to the standard that I want. However, I'm not going to give up, right? Because I don't know about you, but for me, a lot of times clients find themselves in the position where they hit that roadblock. Then they have guilt or shame. They don't want to tell me They do end up telling me, but it's after 3 or 4 days of being, woe is me down in the dumpy dumps, right? Head in the damn sand. Like I hear no evil, see no evil, right? I'm not going to tell him because I don't want to feel this type of way. When look, the fact of the matter is that if today, October 3rd, you messed up and you told me today, October 3rd, we can mitigate and make a plan to intervene so that this doesn't happen in the future, or that the likelihood, or really just so that the likelihood comes down that it happens in the future, and then we can move forward. But if I have a 4, 7, 10, 14, 22 day delay between the time that you made the first action and then you repeated said action daily, right? How much bigger of a deficit are we in now that we have to work out of?
Right.
And so
Right.
I don't know if you feel kind of the same way on the fitness side for yourself, but I mean, with clients with me, I'm like, look, if you ate the donut today, it's not the donut doesn't matter. The one individual donut doesn't matter. It's the insistence that you want to delay, that you want to get rid of future goal, for instance, instant gratification, instant satisfaction. And if you repeatedly do that, you won't hit the goal that you want. And so if you don't want the goal that you said that you initially wanted, that's fine. We can change goals. There's not a problem there. But if you do actually want that, then you need some coaching and some tough love that, eating donuts at every single meal isn't going to be the way that you get there, not in the short run at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the way you put that. Yeah. I mean, it's something is better than nothing, I've said this a few times on like with my clients and even with in social media or just talking to people in general, like, if all you can do is one push up and one sit up, start there. And, of course, over a long period of time, maybe it won't make a big difference. But if over a long period of time, you progressively do 2 of both and then 3, and then you just push yourself a little bit more and a little bit more, eventually you're going to be doing a 20-minute, 30-minute workout a couple of times a week. And then that could turn into something else. And you'll get kind of addicted to that improvement consistently. So, but that's where it starts. I mean, it starts with just doing something.
Compound interest is a hell of a drug, right? And the funny thing about compound interest in anything, whether it be finances, business, the gym, it can't work for you if you're not doing it. If you're not adding to what you're doing, it can't work for you, right? Yeah. If you don't put money in an account that can compound for you, it'll never compound, right? If you delay, and Hormozy talks about this a lot, and a lot of other gurus do too. You delay the first action by however many months, years, days, hours, what have you. You further just set yourself up for failure, because it's not that it takes so long to get to the goal. Like for someone to look like you do, right? You've gone up and down. You've dealt with a lot of things throughout your life, right? Mentally, physically, wanting to be a certain size, not loving where you're at, loving some parts of where you're at physically. Like you've gone through a lot, right? And you've been very open and honest with it on actually the last podcast that we did on 80/20, right? Long form. But think about if you had delayed for fear the first weight that you ever lifted another 5 years, you wouldn't be where you're at today.
Yep.
You might be Brett 5 years ago, or right now you might be Brett 10 years ago because you delayed too long on the first one, right? And compound interest only works if you start, dude. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being stage lean tomorrow. It's also maybe about not looking at the goal being that outcome, and rather the goal being the process.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And that kind of, I mean, that just kind of makes me think of like the fact that the app and stuff that we use, how we track things and how we collect data and stuff. We're not really worried. I mean, of course, like I want my clients to hit goal. That's the outcome is important to me, but for them specifically, we track the habit itself. Like we even have habit trackers in there. So just being able for them to just be able to check something off every day that they did it, and not so much weighing themselves every day and having to see the number on the scale to judge whether or not they're doing a good job. What we do is that, we track the habit rather than the outcome. I mean, just like what you were saying.
Yeah. The only place that I'll push back on you on is I make every client weigh every day.
Okay. I do it every week. I do it once a
Every
week.
client weighs every day. But the reason that I do that, and a lot of people don't like that, and that's fine, right? We have other coaches. You can go see Brett if you hate that so much, right? He can coach you,
Yeah.
and that's fine, right? You're still going to get a hell of a product. But I have people weigh every day for the same reason that we have people walk every day and track it, because I need you to lower your attachment to the number. I need you to lower the attachment that you have to any one metric that we're using to track anything, because it's the combination and the overall habit change across all things that we're doing that is going to get you to the goal that you have. The outcome goal of you being 15 pounds lighter and being able to push the extra amount of weight, right? Or squat or play with your kids or what have you, is going to take us having a commitment to the process. I need you to be dialed into the process. And for me, right, what that looks like is us not making the scale taboo. Because if you put off the scale over and over and over and over and over again because you're afraid of what it's going to say, you're further reinforcing the belief that the scale matters.
Man, okay.
And it doesn't, not by
Yeah.
itself. It
Yeah.
matters in a combination with everything else. But I'm not willing to let people hype it up to be this big boogeyman, because the time that you do step on the scale, chances are, statistically, 9 out of 10 times you're not going to like what it says, because we're in the process. We're not to outcome. So I need you to decrease the likelihood that you're dependent on your happiness or your desire to keep going being based on the number on the scale.
That's an interesting reframe that I never really thought about with the scale. Cause I've always just like, for me as a coach, um, a lot of times they do get attached to the number.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to do it weekly just because I don't want them to get too attached to the number. But I do need that data, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So doing that daily, I mean, that you might have just conformed me, man. I might be changing my ideas.
And it's funny. I have clients that don't want to see it, and that's fine. I still need it. So I have them way backwards in front of me.
Yeah.
They just face the other way. Just don't look down. That's fine. We're getting the data one way or another, whether you like it or not. You don't have to ever look at it, right? You get to choose what your relationship is on that. But I'm not going to let my programming suffer, let my coaching suffer because you're afraid of the scale.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I get it.
And so and it's the reason that I was able to, across a couple hundred people, all told, was able to a science, to a T, right? Not to science, not really, but to a T, be able to map what the first 6 weeks looks like for everyone that comes through my program to lose 10 to 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I was able to a T to figure out exactly what we needed to do across all body types, across all different types of lifestyles. What could I guarantee that you lose 10, no matter what? And if you follow this to the T, you lose 20 of fat.
Yeah.
Right. That was the goal. 6 weeks in person is all I had with most people to start. And so I need to make sure that you got the biggest outcome, the biggest dopamine smack in the face by the end of the 6 weeks. And we did it that way sustainably because we taught you about food groups, not about excluding everything, right? Not about taking sugar and taking processed and taking not all that. Working around with what you have and making sure that protein be the first thing that we worry about. And everything else will work itself out as long as we have ample fat so that your brain doesn't go to mush. And then we have ample carbs for energy, right, around workouts. And we're feeling a little low and depleted, right? And outside of that, we're good.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I love about True Capacity, really, is just the simplicity about it. Is because, a lot of people, and pretty much everybody I talk to is like, there is so much information out there and it all contradicts itself. It's all confusing and it stresses me out. And it's like, that's why I love what we do, because we just keep it very simple. This is what we got. We're going to do our best with what we got and move forward from there and not make it super complex. Like, you don't have to restrict all this other stuff. Just, this is the food that you eat. This is the food that you don't. And let's move forward from here. And you got me as a resource if you have any questions.
Heck yeah. So anything, we'll probably wrap it there. That's 25. Anything that you want to leave anyone with? This is TeamChat001. This is the first one. Anything that you want to leave anyone that's listening to this with? Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would really say is just find somebody to hold you accountable for whatever it is that you're trying to do, regardless if it's weight loss or not. I mean, like just having somebody on your team to kind of push you and to give you, you know, a visual in your head of that, you know, you're not the only person that you're letting down if you fail or whatever, if you get away from your goals. That and then yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Brett Owens, Coach Brett Owens. Stream on Twitch, Retro Games. We do a lot of workouts and stuff in there, weight loss challenges and workout challenges and stuff, and play some games. So that's about
Heck
it.
yeah. Well, people are going to be seeing more of you. No idea what frequency we're going to be releasing this. No idea how many we're going to do over the next 365 days, but I assume it's going to be greater than zero, right? One is always greater than zero. So we're on the board, and we will see y'all next time. And yeah, it's really easy to find Brett, guys, by the way, too. If you're like, where is he? Anywhere that True Capacity is, right? He's all over our YouTube. He's in our Facebook group as an admin. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. He's collaborated on posts with us all over the place. So you can't miss him. And if you need anything, our Facebook group is probably the first place that I would push anyone, period, end of story, that's looking for anything health and wellness, coaching, support, advice, community. That is where we can serve you best. That is where our whole coaching staff, including Dan, is. And we also have some people that don't work with us, but are subject matter experts, few RDs, few DPTs, few chiros that are in the Facebook group as well that can help you. And we are happy to do it. And it's absolutely for free. And that is Body Transformation Secrets for Ambitious Professionals. Do I still have that right?
Yeah,
Ambitious
so.
Professionals. It'll be linked below. If I messed it up, don't hold me to it. A lot of things on my mind, but we will catch you later, and appreciate you listening. Peace.
Peace.